Guys, I have a confession to make. I am a plant serial killer. No, for realsies though. I've killed a lot of plants, and I think that that's part of the reason that there is a mysticism around being able to take care of plants and not murder them. Because just like everyone else on this planet, I have killed at least one houseplant. In fact, I've killed a bunch of houseplants. I have killed so many houseplants that I could fill an entire greenhouse with them. So today I'm going to talk about 5 houseplants that I've killed, why they died, and how you can avoid the same fate for your plants. Plant the first. A cactus. So, just like everyone else that's had a cactus, I've killed a cactus. I've actually killed many cacti, but today we're going to talk about one that I got when I was younger from Arizona. It was a souvenir, and it lived in my house pretty happily for a really long time. Now, the issue with this cactus was watering. It had really big spines, and I didn't know that you had to check soil moisture before you watered a plant. I was 11. I was dumb. So when this cactus eventually met its maker, it was due to root rot. You'll recognize root rot from one of my previous videos as being the cause of this little guy's near demise. He's doing a lot better now, he's growing a root system, and I think he's gonna make it. Cacti should be allowed to dry out completely between each watering. If you can't get your finger into the soil to test the moisture, get a moisture meter, get a bamboo skewer, anything that you can test the moisture with, and make sure that the cactus is completely dry before it's re-watered. And always make sure to check the watering requirements of each plant that you have, and make sure that you follow those watering requirements. The second plant that I killed is actually a category of plants. I have tried to have both a Nepenthes pitcher plant and a Venus flytrap. For both of these plants, I didn't understand the care requirements, and that was sort of the instrument of their demise, because I had no idea what I needed to do. I thought that I understood. I'd taken biology. I knew that carnivorous plants come from bogs. What I didn't get right was the watering requirements and the humidity requirements of both of these plants. What I ought to have done in order to keep these plants alive was make sure that the soil was alkaline, something you'll find in a bog, and put them in self-watering planters, something that'll keep them moist enough so that they can be happy. The reason that the wild clover that I took from my backyard died is because I didn't properly transition it from the outside to the inside. There are a couple things wrong with what I had. The first and most important was the soil. The soil where I live is pretty heavy, pretty full of clay, and that was a problem. On top of that, I had it in way too small of a pot. It needed a lot more room to breathe, and when I potted it up, it was already root bound, which is a huge problem. And on top of that, clover is notoriously difficult to cultivate. Clover needs very little human care, and it actually needs a lot of time left alone. So me taking care of it too often, touching it too often, underwatering it, but still messing with it too often really didn't help. This one is a doozy, the Norfolk Island pine. You'll find these in most big box stores around Christmas, alongside the poinsettias and Christmas cactuses. I actually got this Norfolk Island pine that I'm talking about and the Christmas cactus that I have in the other room on the exact same trip. One of those plants is alive, one of those is not, and there's a reason for that. For one, this Norfolk Island pine that I bought had been spray painted. Now this happens at a lot of big box stores because they want the Norfolk Island pine to just be more verdant and bright and green. If there's any brown on the plant, that can damage its chances of being sold. Now, I was unaware of this problem when I bought my Norfolk Island pine. Any big box store I would definitely not buy a Norfolk Island pine from because you can't trust that it hasn't been spray painted. I would always buy from a local nursery or a grower online, perhaps, that is reputable. Now, in order to get rid of the spray paint, I had to cut off like half of the plant. A lot of plants would be able to take that kind of abuse, but I just moved it from its previous location to a new location. It just put the plant into shock, and that did not help its chances at survival. The last thing that really did in my Norfolk Island pine was that I didn't provide it with enough humidity. I think that one of the main challenges that we face as people that own plants is that we struggle to recreate the native environment of the plants that we have. Now, this comes from a warm island in the tropics that requires humidity, light, and warmth that I just didn't provide. Couple that with the shock of getting half of its body cut off, and this little guy did not make it. Next time I buy a Norfolk Island pine, because I did really, really like it, I'm going to get it from a local nursery, and I'm going to get it from somewhere that I'm sure will not spray paint the plant. You find similar issues with spray painted succulents at big box stores. They're just not gonna live. And it's not worth investing your money in something that you know isn't gonna live. Varying succulents. These plants come with a story. So I have a liquid fertilizer that needs to be diluted 1 capful to a gallon of water. I did not label this. I did not put it up. I did not think that anyone would bother to touch it aside from me. I was mistaken. As I said before, I have younger siblings. They're very sweet children. So with the purest of intentions, my baby brother poured straight plant fertilizer into my plants. Most of them survived. Most of them did absolutely fine after this. I poured gallons upon gallons of water into their pots so that the fertilizer could be diluted enough that it would not burn the roots and wouldn't murder all of my plants. The succulents that died that day died because I wasn't able to pour enough water into their pots to combat the fertilizer. So in order to prevent this tragedy from happening, I would suggest exactly what they suggest on the fertilizer bottle that I just didn't listen to. Put fertilizer up, keep it away from children, and these guys just ended up dying of burned roots, which is pretty common and definitely something that you need to look out for when you fertilize your plants. To properly fertilize your plants, only fertilize during the growing season and always make sure that you water before and after so that the roots don't end up burned. The smell of those burned roots, oh my gosh. I don't think that I will ever get that smell out of my nose because it was just not great. So what are the takeaways from this video? 1. Always make sure that you know your plant's care requirements before you even purchase it. 2. Make sure that those that have access to your tools and your plants know what they are and aren't allowed to do. 3. Always make sure that you know the seller of your plants. That's the end of my serious video. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If I missed anything, please tell me. I would love to know. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.